Okay, so the final project. Grammar and syntax is worth 10 points. Hermeneutical topics worth 30. So how well do they understand the topic they're trying to teach? So if it's how to interpret narrative, how well are they discussing the principles essential to interpreting narrative? Teaching context is 10 points. So who are they teaching? And then is their language conducive for that context? The application of the topic, are they illustrating the principles that they're discussing? Um, that's worth 30 points. Format's 10, references are 10. So again, 10 for grammar, 30 for hermeneutical topic, 10 for context, 30 for application, 10 for outline, and 10 for references. Obviously, A is did they understand this the category with excellence, or do they understand it well? Do they understand it satisfactory with satisfaction and unsatisfactory, and so on and so on. So and poor. So I just graded this assignment and they got an 87. So if you want to look, this is James Aria's assignment. But just briefly, I took off a couple points for his outline because I wasn't sure why he grouped 2A and 2B in the same category. He's talking about principles, namely historical context, the role of narrative, and understanding plot. But then he also talks about just the basic canon. There's 66 individual books. I'm not sure why that's in there, so I took off 2 points for that. His grammar was good. I didn't take off any points for grammar. Um, he introduces the context just fine. It's a 4-part series, a youth group, so he did well for that. Um, he didn't have many references, so he talks about Hamilton, which is fine. He's quoting secondary stuff. That's fine. There's just not a lot of scripture quoted. So here you have Adam and Eve, you have the flood, Moses, tree of life, okay. So he's alluding to scripture, but he's not citing it. So I guess maybe instead of 7, I'll give him an 8. So I'm really looking for more scripture, lots of scripture to be quoted, and secondary literature as well, to back up their sayings. But the biggest things he got taken off were 5 points for the topic and 5 points for the application. Obviously, out of 30, that's a B, so I think he's understanding it well, not excellently, but not, poorly. He's doing it well. So if you take a look at my comments, there are 3 instances where I want him to go a little bit further. So this is a good start. Let's see here. Let's find them. Yeah, so here I'm asking him to go in a little more depth. Can you teach me how to identify these elements, namely resolution, climax, following action? Can you teach me how to identify these? And then can you apply the principles to a text? Same thing here. Can you identify some passages of scripture that are not related to this theme? So he talks about themes and basically salvation through judgment. So that's a tangential comment, but here it would be good for you to walk through the principles and how to identify the unity of Scripture. So I'm asking him to talk to me more about how to identify common themes in Scripture. So I just brainstormed 3 quick things, 3 quick principles that you would use to do that, and I'm asking him also to apply it to, I believe. So again, understanding the topic and application. Let's see, what do I say here? Okay, also include a discussion of the principles. So again, I'm asking him to go a little bit more deeply into the principles. So again, I asked him on 3 occasions to go into a little more depth with regard to the principles and application. So I gave him B's for both of those sections. When I mean application, let's see, where does he talk about that? So he's talking about historical context here, and he says historical context is important when Jesus washes the feet of the disciples. That's good. It'd be nice for him to go into a little bit more depth, though. I say, show me the implications for this passage for someone's interpretation when they're taking into account the historical context. Also, I'm asking him here, can you apply these principles to a text? So, namely, can you take a text like they did with Genesis 21 and say, hey, here are the characters, here's the plot, here's the problem, the climax resolution, and so on. So see if I can find one more example when I asked him to do this. Let's see, so maybe there's just two here. But anyway, I thought he did well because he's giving examples here. He's giving this illustration with John 13, but there's a couple other instances where he could illustrate the principles a little bit better. So I gave him an 88. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and email me. Okay.